when the telecom industry made a decision to go into provision of financial services, many were skeptical. Now, today we're talking about an industry that is a multi-trillion shilling industry, and many are actually starting to appreciate the importance and relevance of this in the broader financial sector. It's no wonder that across in Kenya, KCB is hiring over 400 workers to push its digital channel offerings as it races to actually dominate in that space. Now, we'll be discussing that and more in our subsequent shows. It is Money and Markets. I'm Charles Ford, your host. Welcome to the show. Now, once again, we're at that period of the year where tax proposals are presented before Parliament. Now, there are some areas where new taxes are being introduced, while in others, there are increments being proposed. However, some are urging that this may not be the right time to bring in some of these changes because the economy is tough. So we're picking the mind of one of the tax experts to find out how best should this process be handled.
There are quite a number of taxes that people think are new, but they are not actually new. To a few people, they might be looking like new taxes, but it's actually extending to those who are not there. You are looking at the tax like on the mobile money platforms and transactions. There are already platforms that we are paying, and there are a few platforms that we are not paying. So that's trying to extend to those new taxes. You've talked to tax, so people have said cement, but basically white cement. It's not the other normal cement, that one has already been paying tax. But we've not seen a tax on white cement, grout. So those few things, they have added a few additional taxes. The tax on fuel is 100 shillings. It hasn't been moved really for almost a decade. So adding 100 shillings, I don't think that's going also to disrupt. So people may look at it as a new tax, but just an adjustment that could have been made any other time or before. So that's basically about most of these taxes we are seeing. There are taxes on, I think, proposed taxes on capital gains tax in the real estate if you're selling land. Now some people are thinking, is this the gross on which I'm selling the land? No, the real tax should be on the capital gains. You bought this plot at 60 million, you want to sell it at 80. The 20 should attract a tax because that's additional income you did not have. You're just like another person who invested that 60 in cows, and now he's selling his cows at 80, or in a business. So there are quite a number of things that are not necessarily, I wouldn't call them new taxes. It's just cleaning up a few things, but they may appear as new in a sense, like I've said, the capital gains. Some of these people have been fighting them. They come, people fight them. They come back, people fight them. So I would not say it's not a new conversation. It's an old conversation that has been brought back for consideration. Generally, there are two things. Are they the ones to pay the tax? Are they collecting the tax? And quite a lot of Ugandans confuse the two. The actual taxpayer is usually the consumer of the service. So you'll come back and say majority of Ugandans are not paying taxes, yet they are paying these consumption taxes. MTN, biggest taxpayer. No, it's not MTN. Every time I buy data, I pay tax. MTN is only collecting from me to take it to URA. But it is me who has paid that tax. Now, when you come to these small businesses, you begin to see that EFRIS is trying to track their businesses. You issue a receipt, you issue an invoice. We want to understand and see whether you should pay tax. Now, you want to ask which tax. If I'm selling beer, I'm the final man. The amount I'm going to get of 5,000 a bottle, did you collect that tax already from the manufacturer of the beer? Because me, I'm only adding my margin of possibly 1,000 or 500 shillings. So where is the tax? Is it on the 500? Is it on the 5,000? And why should I give a report? Because that issuing of a report, an invoice or receipt, involves costs to this small business entity. And many of them, by my assessment, are not challenging or complaining because of the need for data, but the cost involved is coming to them. Now, the cost is both in terms of time. To issue this receipt, remember, many of them, you're just dishing out and getting your money, dishing out and getting your money. Now, if you're saying every receipt must be on the EFRIS, every invoice must be on the EFRIS. The EFRIS needs internet. Most of these people don't pay for that much continuous internet. That extra cost that is coming to them, they need to get the app. Some of them were told they need to get a computer, whether it's a laptop. These are small businesses. That extra cost, they are likely to hit back. But also they will be asking, my take is 500. Why should I incur all this extra cost to display my kind of transactions? So a number of things are not clear, but a number of things, even though they are clear, they are coming with a new cost that the traders will certainly try to resist. So we need to understand what is it that we're trying to achieve. Filing of returns should be faster. Of course, those are benefits of EFRIS. You will be seeing it is real time, but that real time comes with a cost on the taxpayer or the tax collector, whatever it is. Now, that is part of the area you want to say who meets this cost. I know even digital stamps, people had complained, but those are large taxpayers. Many of them can somehow find a way of accommodating it. But these smaller fellows, you are really entering into their small, narrow margins. They are likely to raise a complaint.
Currently, Uganda is pursuing an import substitution strategy as it races to bring down the bill of imports. Now, one of the ways to do that is to promote domestic production. But the issue of standards is causing a lot of issues in a number of quarters. Now, it brings into question whether Uganda National Bureau of Standards is doing what they're supposed to do. Now, these are some of the questions being raised by the Trade Ministry, and we find out in this segment what ought to be done going forward. As the country races to embrace value addition, industrialization, and consequently realize the aspiration of import substitution, several enabling areas for this process, especially those related to industrialization, remain unfunded, according to the Trade Ministry.
Most of our unfunded priorities at the moment, which you will also be helping to support and oversee, are really pipeline projects around trade and industrialization. So we have the aflatoxin control and testing infrastructure project, and we have the border export zone infrastructure development project. And part of our unfunded priorities fall under the value addition facilities for rural industrialization development program, which is about 23 billion. Then we have the parish development model implementation. That one is about 5.2 billion. And then we have the support to standards development and enforcement through Uganda National Bureau of Standards, and that is under the cap that 327. That one comes to about, in total, about 31 billion.
This was contained in the brief shared by the Ministry's Permanent Secretary, Jada Nsali, to the new State Minister for Trade, General Wilson Mbadi, as he takes over the docket. Sali also emphasized that even the trade enabling agencies and interventions have not been fully financed to meet the set goals, as she shared the planned budgets for respective concerned agencies and interventions.
And when you go to implementation of the bilateral and regional international trade agreements and protocols, that one we have about 3 billion. And then the posting of trade attaches, which we have been talking about, is about 10 billion. Investment in strategic projects for industrial and economic development through UDC is about 200 billion. And then support for exports promotions board is about 8.7 billion. Then support for market access, which is about 3.9 billion.
On his part, the new Trade Minister for Trade highlighted standards enforcement as a major area he intends to focus on to bolster the country's export fortunes.
Now the aflatoxin report came in. And obviously now aflatoxin is about quality.
Yes.
And you have, I heard somebody said quality control. Is it your way? So quality control, we are watching you. Seriously. Not only for the sicknesses you are causing Ugandans here by sleeping on the job or being partners in manyangaring huko. So please, I will be watching those two areas, because without those being sorted out, you cannot export.
He paid attention to agricultural products whose prices oscillate a lot, largely on the account of poor quality and handling by several value chain players.
There's a lot of rot out there. I am not a big farmer, but I have some some things that I grow, cocoa, I grow vanilla, coffee. Now you can imagine where the price of vanilla has come from to drop to where even now you look for somebody with 5,000 to sell it to, he's not there. And the cocoa a kilo of vanilla used to be 300, 250,000, 350,000. 1 kilo like this. Why is this price? Quality. We have joked around with quality. Immature vanilla, we harvest immature vanilla. Where is the quality control man?
Uganda has for years been struggling with reducing the balance of trade deficit as it continues to import more than it exports. Part of the effort to reverse this, according to the State Minister for Trade and the Permanent Secretary, will be invested in standards promotion and facilitation.